Friends, welcome to Biology Made Easy. Today in this video we are going to discuss deforestation, which is one of the very important aspects in respect to the current situation in the entire world, and also you can tell that in our planet Earth. Now, what is deforestation? The conversion of forested areas into non-forested areas is known as deforestation. That means simply you can tell that a removal or cutting of the forest trees so that to convert it into a bare land is known as deforestation. Now, it has been estimated that in the last few years 40% of the tropical forest and 1% in the temperate region have been lost. In the 40% in tropical areas and 1% in temperate areas, the forests have been lost. And coming to India, the situation is very dim and very grave situation. Why? Because in 1900, that is in the beginning of 20th century, there was that is 7,000 million hectares of forest land was there. But at the end of the century, that is in 2000, it was reduced to only 2,400 million hectares. And if we consider this forest area with respect to land, it is only 21.5% of the land area. That means in India, the forest cover is only 21.54%, while the national forest policy, National Forest Policy 1988 recommends that 33% in case of plains and 67% in case of hills should be covered only by forest area. So instead of 33% in plains and 67% in hills, the entire forest area in whole of India is only 21.54%. And this is the situation almost in most of the world. Now, why there is such cutting of trees, why there is deforestation, and what are the causes of deforestation, and what will be the different effects that we have to discuss. First, if we discuss the different causes of deforestation, then the first point that will come is human population. Now, as you know, that the human population is increasing like anything, and when population is increasing, they require more food, they require timber for construction of their houses, they require also the fuel wood, they require wood for cattle ranching. So in different ways for the life, they require different types of timbers, wood. But how to provide such a large number of wood for the growing population? That is why the forests are cut and they are utilized. That is one of the points. The second important point is zoom cultivation. This is also very important. Zoom cultivation. It is also known as slash and burn agriculture. Slash and burn agriculture. Now, this zoom cultivation or slash and burn agriculture is very common in northeastern states. Northeastern states, also it is very common in Odisha and West Bengal. So what is this zoom cultivation? Usually the farmers which inhabit in the forest areas, since they don't have much agricultural land, they cut several acres of trees and they burnt the remnants of the trees and they collect that ash, and in that area they grow crop plants and they use that ash for manure. So 2 to 3 years they will do like that. Then they will leave that area. Then they will shift to another area. So while this area will recover, then they will cut another area. But due to this growing population, now that recovery time, that 2 or 3 years time they give for the growth of the plants, that recovery time also not given. As a result, the forests are becoming thinner and thinner. This is also known as a shifting cultivation. Shifting cultivation. So this is one of the important points. Then the third important point is, that is the hydroelectric projects. To satisfy the demands of growing population, electricity is required, and for electricity there should be different types of power, the dams, then different types of power plants, which is mostly the hydroelectrical power plants. So all these things they are done in the forest areas, and for that the forest plants are cut. Then another point is, you can take that these forest roads to connect different cities and to have a very short line, that is the forest trees are cut and the roads are built inside the forest, and that is also one of the reasons. The next reason is that is quarrying and mining. Usually different types of mines like the iron ores, the chromites, bauxites, they are usually present in different hills. So while quarrying and mining, the forest is lost. Then another point is overgrazing by cattle. Overgrazing by cattle. So this is also very common. With the increasing population, the number of cattle also increasing, and for their food, they have to go to the forest to browse the leaves of the trees. So that is also one of the method of the deforestation. Then another point is through the forest, usually canals are built. And I will give you an example in case of UP. That is, in UP there is one canal, that is Sarada Sahayak canal in East UP, and when it was constructed, 1 million sal trees were cut. Now think of 1 million sal trees were cut only for that canal in eastern UP in the late part of the 20th century. And another important point, which is very common in most parts of the world, that is forest fire. So the forest fire is very common, either accidentally or intentionally. There is forest fire, and once there is fire in the forest, it is very difficult to control it. So these are some of the causes of deforestation. Now let us discuss what are the effects. So among the different effects of deforestation, now number one is, and very important, is change in climate. When deforestation takes place, large biomass is lost, and when large biomass is lost, what happens? that means the biogeochemical cycle is disturbed. The biogeochemical cycle is disturbed, the hydrological cycle, it is also disturbed. As a result, there is change in the climate, and at some places there may be flash floods, where in some other cases you will find a drought, because the climate becomes very irregular. So this is one of the points. Now the second point is that is soil erosion. Usually when there is rain and there is runoff water, during runoff water usually the soil particles are also washed away. But the forest plants, through their roots, they can check it. But if there is deforestation, so it will lead to soil erosion and the fertility of the land will be lost. Then the third point, we can take that of the flash floods. Usually, at the banks of the rivers, usually forest plants are there in most of the cases. As a result, since the roots of these plants, they tightly hold the soil, then the banks of the rivers, they cannot be destroyed. But when there is deforestation, then the river banks, they will expand and there will be flash floods. Then the fourth point is loss of, this is again a very important point, loss of biodiversity and germplasm. Different types of organisms, they depend upon this forest, whether they are bigger animals or smaller animals. But when there is a deforestation, then most of the animals, they will disappear from that place. That means there is a loss of biodiversity and the germplasm. Then another point is cyclone. If you have heard the cyclone that took place in 1999 in the coast of Odisha. Now, why this cyclone was so severe, where thousands of people died? It is because of deforestation of the mangroves. Deforestation of mangroves. Then another point, that is global warming. When there is a deforestation, the number of plants decreases. So what will happen? The animals and other organisms, during their respiration, they will liberate carbon dioxide. Usually this carbon dioxide is assimilated by the plants for photosynthesis. But when the number of plants is reduced, the concentration of this carbon dioxide in the atmosphere will increase, leading to global warming. Then another point we can tell, that is shrinkage in fuels or fuel wood, we can tell. Most of the people in forest areas, they spend their half day for collecting this firewood from the nearby forests. And if there will be deforestation, how they will collect that firewood? How they will survive? Because they cannot afford for the other types of fuel forms for their kitchen. So these are the different effects. Now we are aware of the causes and also aware of effects. So what precaution we should take? That we have to discuss.